Good day, friends. I'm Kerry Dillinger. This is Bible Class Topics. Today we want to take a look at Paul the Apostle as an example of God's transformative grace in action. Please just give me about 5 minutes of your time today, and we'll discuss this transformation where Saul of Tarsus becomes Paul the Apostle. Let's get our Bibles out. Let's turn to Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Paul said, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." This passage in Paul's letter to the Romans reminds us of his own transformation by the renewal of his mind through God's grace. Paul's story, as he recounts it in Galatians, is a powerful reminder of God's amazing grace. Paul's transformation from a zealous persecutor of the early church to one of its most influential leaders showcases the incredible work of God's unmerited favor. Paul's testimony reveals that no one is beyond the reach of God's grace. Despite his violent opposition to Christianity, God chose Paul. He set Paul apart, and he called Paul to preach the very gospel he once sought to destroy. This dramatic turnaround emphasizes that salvation is not earned through religious performance or moral superiority, but is a gift that God gives freely to those who obey His will. The depth of Paul's conversion also highlights the sovereign nature of God's grace. Even before Paul's encounter with Christ on the Damascus Road or his baptism for the remission of his sins at the hands of Ananias, God was working behind the scenes, preparing Paul for his future role, as can easily be seen in Paul's own words in Galatians chapter 1, verses 15 through 17. "But when God, who set me apart from my mother's womb and called me by His grace, was pleased to reveal His Son in me so that I might preach Him among the Gentiles, my immediate response was not to consult any human being. I did not go up to Jerusalem to see those who were apostles before I was, but I went into Arabia. Later, I returned to Damascus." Or as the psalmist proclaims in Psalm 139, verse 16, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Scriptures like these remind us that God's plan for our lives often unfolds in unexpected ways, using even our mistakes and failures to shape us for His purposes and ultimately bring us to Himself. Paul's story encourages us to recognize God's grace in our lives and extend that same grace to others. It challenges us to look beyond outward appearances and to see the potential for transformation in every person we encounter along the way. We know that nobody is beyond the grace of God unless they choose to be. Our notes today are adapted from Tim Keller's Galatians volume of the God's Word for You commentary series. I'm not really familiar with this commentary series, but according to Amazon and ChristianBook.com, all of the people who have purchased it from either of those stores give it the 5-star rating. Thank you for your kind attention. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. We enjoy having you coming by Bible Class Topics and visiting us from time to time. We hope to post another video in just a few days. Until then, let's keep each other in our prayers. Let's keep this world in our prayers. And may God bless.